All right, and welcome to another episode of And Then We Win. It's me, Dr. Justin Singleton, the founder of Just Single Vision Consulting. I am happy to be here this evening on this great day to talk about what we do, sports social work, and all the components around it. And so I'm happy to have Erika, Coach Perry. Um, I'm excited. I've been trying to stalk her, hunt her down to get her pinned down to this interview. We got it, and I'm excited because we're going to talk about some things that's very important to me, something that I've always talked about within my other roles in life, and hopefully in this space too. We're going to talk about well-being and all those things. And so I am happy to have her here. She is the founder of Youth Talk United, and she has Coach Perry Speaks. So we will allow her to introduce herself in her way on this good day.
Awesome. Well, first of all, thank you for allowing me to be a blessing on your platform. So thank you for that. And you guys, he have not been stalking me, so he can stop that.
It took
But
us a while to get it pinned down, but we did it though. I'm happy.
come on. We hear it now. But yes,
Mm-hmm.
my name is Erica Coach Perry. You see the coach in the middle as I've coached for over 20 some years in that space of every sport. But basketball became my love and first love as I played collegiate ball as well. Now in this space, I'm an impact strategist. As an impact strategist, I work with nonprofits as well as youth and development services, helping basically organizations start with centralizing well-being as the forefront to make sustainable impact and to continue to gain the things that they need for their organization. So I know we're going to get into a lot, but that's the main thing is making impact. And my impact starts with well-being and mental health first.
I love that impact strategy. I'm gonna use that in some form of some capacity, some way. So I
Let's
love it though.
go.
If you could go ahead and put it in a corporate trademark or something like that, because I love that term. And so let's get right into it. I'm going to go ahead and just ask the most important thing. You told us about your story as you being a basketball player, and you do a lot of work with around burnout and your well-being. And so I want to know, first things first, when did you recognize burnout within yourself? Because I'm imagining like you became part of this work, you led to this work through a personal experience, like
Yes.
most of us do. And so, most important question, when did you recognize it? And then when did you accept the fact that you were dealing with burnout?
Oh man, great question, and thank you for asking that. As I said, I coach. Coached for over 20 some years. In addition to that, was working a full time job, running my business on the side, and had an AAU organization. All these because with the background of social work and psychology, we want to help everybody, we want to
Oh,
do
yeah.
everything, and that's my passion, purpose, which it still is. But God had to say, "I'm gonna give you clarity on how you do that." At first, it was me just running, 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 and in between that time, about 5 years ago, it kind of hit me where I was doing everything. And I'm like, okay, I'm never really sleeping. I'm always going and going. And then it was at a point where I started talking more to some of the parents and things that they was going on with their youth. And from them engagements and conversations, I started noticing that they also was talking about me. So now that
Mm.
emotional capacity came about because it was Coach Perry want to do everything right. Coach Perry want to make sure our girls are doing this because I was about the books. As you know, social work and background, we're mandated supporters, reporters. So everything that I did was let's do by the book, but make sure we're making impact on it. And
Mm-hmm.
it just seems like no matter how much impact that I was trying to make, they was going against it because they wanted to do their stuff their way. So it went from me being the best thing in their kids' life to me being the worst thing in their life. In
Mm-hmm.
between that, I had things going on with my job because, hey, I'm leaving work going to coach these babies with a 9 to 5. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm leaving work. I'm going to do these things. I'm making sure my work then when I was at a 9 to 5, everything was complete. But it's just when you're at a season where you have to go through so many drainage to know, okay, this is why God put me in this way. And he
Mm-hmm.
put me in there with my job. Then it started with the people I was serving. So I'm looking like, what is this? You want me to serve? I'm doing the work at work. Now I'm serving and I'm still running into hell. Like, come on now, God. And it just,
Mm-hmm.
I kept hitting rock bottom, kept hitting rock bottom. And then COVID came up and it got even worse because we were still trying to travel with our kids. Some of my kids, due to that COVID, kind of start got where they wasn't getting looked at as much. So now you got parents complaining, hey, my baby got to go to school. So now I'm putting more pressure on my way because I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I want to make sure all these kids are doing well. I know we got to stop this AAU. We got to stop coaching. So it's constantly me trying to make sure and fit everybody in that schedule. And again, now COVID hit. Now my job is doing stuff different. My job started doing stuff different. I started speaking out on that. Like, hey, it's COVID. We got COVID money. We're supposed to do A, B, and C. At that
Mm-hmm.
time, I was working for an agency. It's not that too many people that looks like me. I started speaking out about that. That started being a clash. It was where it was such a clash that executive director at that time told me, hey, we just want you to play your part. I
Wow.
said, play my part. This is what I went to school for. This is what I do. I've been with you
Mm-hmm.
guys for over a decade now. And my name is on these different fundings and grants at this time. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
hearing it from the left and I'm hearing it from the right, to where finally one of the young ladies that I was serving as her case manager, she came to me and some things was going on. She didn't have the ability to have her lights on. I spoke out about that, said something to them. On a Monday, on a Wednesday, they called me and said, hey, we thank you for your 10.5 years, but we no longer need your service.
Mm.
That was it. And in the midst of that, on a Wednesday, on a Friday, I got parents mad because we're not able to get stuff did. So all this is running. And I'm still like, okay, God, I trust you. I believe in you. And I'm saying this because a lot of people are like, okay, but you still kept going. I did. I kept going. Because I'm like, I got faith. God can do it. He going to make a way. I'm going to keep doing it. So didn't jump right back into a job. Steady trying to work with my nonprofit and the youth that I'm working with. Until all of a sudden I'm at home and I got stuck in the bed and I just couldn't move.
Mm.
My body was hurting. I already was started feeling the aches and the pains and everything. So I'm sitting in the bed and I'm laying there like, Lord, why am I feeling this pain? And he said, you feeling this pain because I've hit you so many times, but you didn't stop just to listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
So everything
Mm-hmm.
you love that job because you got it right out of college. Soon as you graduated with that degree of social work, matter of fact, that was your internship as a social worker. I gave you that job and you fell in love with it. And then you love sports and I gave you that and you fell in love with the sports too, and it was so amazing to you that you forgot all about the things that I wanted you to do. So now I got to get you here. And again, I stay in the Alabama area, but what I stay is like 30 to 40 minutes away from my folks. So I'm somewhere at the house by myself and I'm in pain. So a whole day I'm hurting, I'm crying, nobody there to help me because I can't even get out of bed because my body just collapsed on me. It
Mm.
was just like, I'm done. You've been doing too much. And from there, I was just like, I got to make a change. And for one of the things that I have on one of my trademarks is talkers versus doers, what I talk about all the time. And it's ran from James 1:22 and 25. At that time, I'm sitting in the bed and I'm like, whatever you want, Lord, just let me do it. Like, I just don't want to be in no more pain. I'm tired. I'm hurt. Lord, I don't got to do a job. I'm trying to get through everything. And he said to me that night, if you keep talking about the things you want to do and not actually be a doer of the words that you want to do, it will never change. So from there, I went to James 1 and 22, and it said just that. Don't ye be a hearer of the word, be a doer of his word.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, I got to change what I'm doing. I'm hearing all this, but I got to change the way I'm doing. And long story short, like all that of me going through so much, trying to please everybody, do for everybody, I fell into an area that I only had to cry out, and crying out was like, okay, I got to change how I do everything. And from that day forward, it went to, I got to prioritize me first. My well being, the way I think, the way I do things, how I show up, and that has been a blessing to me ever since, of just making sure I put my well-being first. Because even with that job, if I didn't do so much for them, it would not have been as easy for them to let me go. But it was the fact that they knew everything I did was whenever they wanted, how they wanted, and they seen the
Mm-hmm.
burnout before I seen the burnout. So that's kind of where my story came from, me now being impactful and talking to people.
Mm. I can cut this camera off and everything off right now and pass collection plate if we need to. Like that was enough right there. But
It's a collection with
yes,
so much
it's
other stuff cut out because it was like, oh my gosh.
it is just amazing how yeah, I'm a man of faith too, so I'm just going ahead and mention oftentimes we're given so many things and we
Yeah.
got exactly what we wanted, what we needed, but we're not doing the right things with it. And sometimes it requires you to be shut down. And literally, you will shut down from a physical standpoint.
Yeah.
And so, just thinking about at any given point in time, if you can go back and think about a point where you need to stop yourself, where would have you stopped yourself in your story?
Actually, with the coaching, I should have been stopped.
Mm.
But because of sports, as you know, and if you're playing sports, when it becomes our identity, and also why I teach with my kids now, my nonprofit of what we know your identity, who you are outside of your sports. I played sports since I was in elementary. Sports was my way out of everything that I went through from, bad times at home, sexual
Mm-hmm.
assault, abuse, all these different things. Sports allowed me to climb out of those things. So that's all I knew. So when I went from, okay, now you no longer play, allow the words and the everything you've been taught to go into these young girls and young boys you coach, and it was like, I can't get this up. This helped
Mm-hmm.
me out. I supposed to do this for these kids, but I seen that the impact wasn't the same as it was when I first started, because the kids have changed, the parents have changed,
Mm-hmm.
and it been time for me to let it go. But I kept saying, I ain't worrying about the parents. I'm not worried about the ADs not doing their job and just want trophies. I'm making an impact. But if you don't have people with you, you don't have the right circle and the right community, no matter how forceful you are or what you want to do, it would not work. And that was my thing. I was in a school where we was winning championships. Everything was going on. I seen so much in these young girls that was in me. A lot of these girls was going home to places that I know they was being abused and things going on. And I seen it. I spoke about it. I talked about it. And I heard the AD laugh one time when I left his office when I said, Coach, we need to do more about these young girls. So much is going on. And he said, Coach Perry, if I do more about them, we won't have the actual trophies that we have.
Mm.
And I was like, and that was my last year coaching too when it came up to it
Yeah.
inside of the school system. That was my last year of coaching. And as I'm leaving now, one of the assistant coach was a male, none to you, Doc. But me being the only female on that staff for that 5 years, the male started laughing as I'm walking out the office. They like, man, she want to do too much. She trying to be super stable. We just hit a coach and win and make money. And I'm like, man, Super
Wow.
Sable was the one that helped identity of me. So because of all those things, I didn't want to stop coaching. But so much was up against the door that I kept trying to push through it, because I gotta help these kids. I want these little girls to be able to look up and say, oh my gosh, I want to be a Coach Perry. I want to be an Erika.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been time for me to let it go. So I would really say I should have let coaching go earlier than I did. And it may have saved some more focus what I could have done at my job.
Oh, that's so important and so enriching because we often, like you mentioned earlier, I can imagine you're that type of athlete too. It's just like, look, I'm going in, I got to
All
perform
in.
my best and just keep
Mm-hmm.
going and doing the things I need to do. And then that also, translated to your adult life when you came to coach. It's like, I got to keep going and got to do what I need to do and do what's best. But then you also sound like you recognize that, okay, my purpose is shifting in another space there.
Mm-hmm.
And but it's hard to let that go, honestly, especially
Yeah.
you've been around for so long. Similar experience. I was a soccer coach, was assistant coach for a couple of years, and then the head coach left, and then the AD asked if I could coach, and literally same exact thing. Had to go to work early and then make sure I got off at a certain time to go to practice.
Right.
So I'm going to work at 7 o'clock, start the clock 7 o'clock, just to be off around 3, just trying to
Mm-hmm.
hold practice, and it's just you don't want to let go because you love the game, you love the sport,
Right.
and you want other kids to have access to the sport because you know what it means to them. But I even felt like I did more damage by being the coach than I actually was, not being the coach. It's like I should have just
Wow.
and that was kind of hard to take in.
Yeah.
Um, oh, oh man. So flashback,
Definitely.
and so it's just one
Yes.
of those things.
Definitely
Hard
understand that.
as part of that identity. It's hard to let go and realize, recognize like you have an identity tied with this, but in what space and capacity should you go into next? And it
Mm-hmm.
sounds like you did a lot of that good work, and even started off with the Youth Talk United. So I'm
Yes.
assuming that's where that transition happened. So
Yeah.
back in I think you started 2016. You founded Youth Talk,
Yes.
and
Mm-hmm.
so how did that come about? Like, when did you recognize that? Well, you didn't recognize later on until it was time for you to really commit to that. fully.
Right.
But like, what was the inspiration behind that work and creating an organization?
Well, with the nonprofit, I always, from just my lifestyle of growing up, wanted to give young adults and youth opportunity to just have a space where they can talk about things. And initially, funny thing is, again, I gave my job during that time a decade of my life. So the nonprofit really birthed and started there. It started because I was social work in their place, had a lot of kids in the neighborhood. So I brought that social work, came in and said, okay, I want to start this nonprofit. Again, I started it there, but in the midst of starting it there, I didn't know that after I left, because I started there, they was going to take everything and say it was theirs. So it was a
Mm.
whole nother name
Oh
before.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it was a whole nother name, but I was leading it. So along with all the other stuff I was doing at that job, I was also doing that. So on the weekends too, I'm running something that they got numbers for, that I was steady making impact to as well, for the ones in the background, far in the back, that understand what I'm saying. So
Mm-hmm.
I had always, I want to give back again. I always want to give back, give back, give back. So I started that literally in kind of 2010, just back and forth, having kids, and then made it actually Youth Talk United in that 2016, because my overall focus was allowing youth to have a place that they are feeling safe, they're heard, and they can talk about everyday social issues in the community. So that was my way of giving a safe space outside of sports, because all of them didn't play sports. So I still
Mm-hmm.
wanted to help those youth that didn't play sports. So that originally birthed Youth Talk United, and it was just that, getting youth together to talk about everyday social issues that they experience. So that's kind of how that birthed. Yeah.
That's great. You know, a lot of times kids need that outlet to talk to somebody that's not,
Mhm.
well, it's not always tied to exactly what they're doing all the time. Like, you know,
Yeah.
of course, you're speaking to athletes, but sometimes kids don't want to be seen as just an athlete, just need that
Mhm.
space to talk about things. I think that's what a lot of our work stems out of. It's like, hey, please see me as somebody different, um,
Right.
and not just
Outside
that
of what I
athlete.
do, yes.
And
And what I
so,
did, what was unique about that is, even still now, I allowed the young adults to lead the groups. So I was
oh,
in there at that time. Yes, still look young, but gracefully.
you do.
We age well. We age well. So I try to make sure of that. But during that time, I would go in there, start the meetings, but kind of sit in the back until they say, hey, coach, we need to talk to you. Or, hey, we want your opinion. But my goal was to allow them first, instill them being adult. Let them lead. So they would
Mm-hmm.
get in there and lead certain topics, and we'll come in. And I also have times where we'll have guys to come in too, and we'll have males come in. We're sitting in the back until we need to speak. But it was giving them that space. And another thing, being in the social work field too, as us learning to allow them to lead how they lead. So I would tell them, this is your space. How you talk may be totally different. I'm not gonna say anything till you disrespect us in some form or fashion. So they may slip a couple of words, but it was the fact that I gave them that opportunity, I gave them that space, and that was something that they live for every week. We know we're going in and we're gonna talk. So guess what? We don't
Mm-hmm.
got a game today. Yeah, I'm not that basketball player. I'm just Ken. I'm just Tasha. I'm just that coming in, and I'm gonna really talk about my feelings. And they knew we was there to help out, but we wasn't gonna say, hey, don't say them words. Why you say that? It was actually
Mm-hmm.
an advantage for us, because I learned so much, because I'm sitting in the back like I ain't hearing it. And I'm like, oh my God, is that really going on in them schools? Oh my God, but I gotta be like this because I gotta be supportive of these babies.
Mm-hmm.
So it took advantage and allowed our nonprofit to really grow, because so many kids just talked about, hey man, you can come here, you can meet up, you can talk about anything. They're not gonna judge you,
Mm-hmm.
and it's laid back. So it was just that, and we still have it now, just on a slimmer level of more collegiate students to be able to do that.
Oh wow, that's great. I love that you created a participatory development model within that space, because when they can come in there and take charge and be them authentic selves, they're like, okay, not only do they get to be themselves and it makes the group fruitful, but then also they're starting to get more people to come along too. Like, hey,
Oh yeah.
Coach Perry got this thing going on, or we run it, or these are things that we're doing. And so that's very important, because they don't feel like they're coming in a space where they're being harped at and talked to the whole entire time.
Right.
It's like, hey, this is your space now. Don't get too crazy, but
But this your space, right?
but this
And
is your
that's how it
space to do your
was.
thing.
because we originally, it was called Girls Talk United, and with the girls, that was my whole focus. But when we started having the community service activities, their brothers started coming, and the parents and the men was like, "Hey, this good, coach. Like, what about our boys
Mm-hmm.
back here?" And I'm like, "I don't really got the capacity to do it, by myself." But we could think about it, and gracefully, like I said, as you said earlier, we talked about one of my brothers, and
Mm-hmm.
your brother, where he was amazing. He came in and said, "Hey, you know what? I don't mind helping out." And he started leading the group with the boys. So amazing guy, amazing brother. And I said, "Hey, to make sure we identify well, let's change it now to Youth Talk Unite." Because initially it was just for the girls, but because I opened that space and allowed them that space, now they came as
Mm-hmm.
well. So yeah.
It's one of those things it keeps building itself,
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Birmingham, like most cities in the South, they probably got the cousins and brothers and sisters still come to that same school. So it's something where
Everywhere.
people were like, okay, it sells
Hmm.
itself. It literally just sells itself. Um, and so earlier, I know you're talking about, your thing about being talkers and doers. You got t-shirt line, you got paraphernalia, all that stuff, which is great. But I also noticed you had that affirmation journal. Can
Hmm.
you talk a little bit more about the affirmation journal? It's a 30-day journal. And so where did that come from? And like, what did you expect the outcomes to be from participating and filling out that journal?
Affirmation journey is something that also got me through my journey. So through
Mm,
my journey, I'm always affirming myself. I love affirmations. I love just quotes that really speak to you. But it's not just about the talking of the quotes, it's always the doing of the quote. Like when
mm-hmm,
you get that quote, when you see the affirmation, what do you make? What does it feel to you? Like, what do you make that person do? And that's what everything that I look and I think about. If I'm going to help a person out, if I'm going to talk to a person, what is the action that I want them to take, or what do I want them to feel from it? So that's where the affirmation journal started at. I'm actually working on two more that will be coming out soon, especially for just youth serving leaders,
mm,
affirmation and reflection for them to be able to do that. So I started writing on my actual wall, just putting sticky notes, especially when I was going through my times of just saying, "Hey, believe in yourself, having faith. What's one time down is two times getting back up." Different things that people do not think about, or anything that came to my head of positivity, I will write it down on a sticky note and I'm going to put it up there and do it. But also from that, working with youth, I got to go back to that. They don't want to hear a lot of long jargon. I can talk to them and be like, "Hey, you got to do this and that." And instead, I can come to them and just be like a play, like, "Hey, you want to get in the game time? You got to put all in." And they be like, "Oh, I got to go all in, or go sit down." So it would just be small things that I'll take away also with them, of just affirmations, and be like, "Hey, how can I actually think about talking to adult?" Because sometimes as adults, you got to talk to us like we're a sixth or seventh grader too. Everybody don't
mm-hmm.
want that long jargon just because you got all these alphabets by your name. And I try to remind myself of that when I'm doing my affirmations too. Just be real with folks. Give them something to take action. So that led to the affirmation journal, and also led to just wanting people to be able to say, "How can I affirm myself?" And the things, topics, and places that I want to be and go. So yeah.
Oh man, I feel like I feel like we're cousins from a distant family because I have a thing I believe in called think it, ink it, and then do it. Like, so the
Mm.
thing is just like, okay, you thinking about it, make a plan and start doing it. And so, what would be some of your advice of moving from that space of actually, just getting to the point where we're just not thinking about it, we're just doing it. So, what
Hmm.
would be one of your key things that you would push about going to that do it stage?
Key things that I always push is passion, purpose. So when we're talking about passion, purpose, is if it's something you love, if it's something you desire, go do it. The
Mm-hmm.
action's gonna come later, but go do it. And that was the biggest thing with me, having all of it together. Like you said, ink to paper, I gotta see all of it, I gotta look at all of it. Now it's go do it. Because it's part of your passion, it's a part of your purpose, and that's what clarity come. And that's what I had to get to, where instead of just doing everything, have clarity, so when that passion and purpose come, I can go do it because it's in line with what I want to do. It's right there.
Mm-hmm.
So if I see something, I know it's a part of actually student athletes, or I see something and I know it's part of well-being, you don't got to tell me about it. I'm going to do it anyway because
Yeah.
I'm already aligned with it. Anything will come to a mental health. well-being or wellness, I'm gonna do it because it's aligned with my passion, it's aligned with my purpose. So I'm not talking about it. If I hear somebody say, hey, we got something going on over here and we want you to be a part of it, Coach Perry, and it's in my time frame that I can do, oh yeah, it's with my well-being, it's making me better, I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
No questions asked about it. I'm going to get up and I'm going to go do it. So that has led me to push, like you said, to that. Stop talking about it. Go do it because it's aligning.
Oh gosh, I feel like I'm getting inspired. Number one, but also just some of the things that on our previous episode we had Dr. Matt Moore, who's the president of the Alliance of Social Workers in Sports, and he talked about the spirit of the power of yes. It's just like, and you just
Mm,
shared it. It's like if it's something's going to benefit and like you got the capacity to do it, just do it. Say yes and do it because it's going to return tenfold. He didn't say that. That's my saying. It's going to return tenfold, and
and it
so
will.
it will, and it makes an impact for so many people that you just never know who lives is going to touch. Because even if you're in a space and somebody don't know who you are, you showing up, being present can inspire somebody to do it, and be
Mm-hmm.
a doer. And so and even tonight, you say you're a little under the weather. You're here today, and so
Yes, I am. I am. I am. And I'm going. It's funny because I'm like I'm looking at the y'all. Just so you know, I have a little concoction mixed up, but I said no. I'm committed to it. I'm gonna do it, and again, it may be one or two words somebody may gain from this, from what I said, that say that
hmm
inspire me, and I'm gonna go do it and I'm gonna make it happen. So it was meant to me because it's aligned with my purpose that I go do this. And that
hmm
comes with burning out so much. You start saying, allow me to align myself only in spaces and places that is going to be beneficial for me and for somebody receiving.
that's whew, pass around another collection plate. I'll start taking ties now. And so, just 2024, just last year, I saw that did a research project
Mm-hmm.
that inspired that study about the mental health concerns for athletes and like what was the as a researcher, I know, let me back up some. As a researcher, like you notice, you have a personal connection with something. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, I wonder, you start asking these questions. And so I wonder what led you to your research project and share the world, some of your findings about it and what are you doing with it now? Because, it's always great to do research, have the information, but like, okay, what do we do next?
Most
That doer
definitely. You
spirit.
guys, he said he been chasing me. He haven't been chasing. He been researching, baby. He coming with the bag. Oh my gosh. But I love it. Thank you for that. So yes, the
hmm
research was on female athletes, you guys. I did a research with female athletes going into over 7 schools that I have here in Birmingham City Schools. Was able to research over 100 girls as it relates to understanding mental health and knowing about mental health as a student athlete. It was something
hmm
so important to me again because I coach. Even though I stopped coaching, I still want to be in that field because it's passion purpose for me. It aligned with me. So it was something that I still wanted to make sure that I do. But also I still have an amazing relationship with a lot of the girls I coach as they started developing into college and things. They was having situations going on and they was calling back and talking to me because one of the things on the side I do too is one-on-one sessions with student athletes.
hmm
90% are girls, but I do have some young males too as it relates to personal and mindset and performance development. I work with that. And a lot of my young ladies, I just seen that they were struggling as things are getting better for female athletes. There's still so much we're trying to overcome. And one of the big things with female athletes is confidence. So that confidence can up and go, especially when we're talking about public schools where we're still at the bug of if the boys want to use the gym first, the boys going to use the gym first.
hmm
If the shoes come first, it's gonna go to the actual boys. So we just gonna keep it real about that. So a lot of our girls, as well as their coaches, are struggling with that. So what I decided is how can I help these youth better? And when I was working with them, I'm like, I'm talking to them about mental health, but they don't even know what mental health is. They don't know the
hmm
strategies of where to go. So I was able and blessed to get this grant within my nonprofit, went and surveyed these young girls at different schools now, different time frames, was surveying them, and what we was able to receive that over 70% of our female student athletes do not understand or aware of mental health issues,
mm
which was alarming to me. So I'm going in there, and the first thing I ask you guys, let me give me a definition of mental health, or give me a definition of how you feel, or when these things are not going right on the court, how do you express yourself? A lot of negativity, the cussing, the fighting. And when we found that out, I was like, something has to be did. That
Mm-hmm.
they're playing sports, but they don't even understand mental health to know that this is a reason why that is impacting their outcome of how they play and how they receive things in sports because of this. Especially, again, it's Birmingham City schools. A lot of them, because of the environment, it's already a poverty environment. Some of them
Mm-hmm.
fell in schools, and you don't have a lot of females playing sports because of those things, as well as being labeled. They see what goes on into the school. We're finally getting when more girls are seeing, because of people like the amazing Angel Reese and Asia out here doing their
Mm-hmm.
thing. They like, I want to be like them. I want to do more like them. It wasn't a lot of those role models when it comes to us black females. Now more are coming and they want to play and they're coming out, but it's just so hard. So with the girls that are there, like, I'm lost. I'm just here because the
Mm-hmm.
coach pulled me out of the classroom like I was and said, hey, you play soccer, you play volleyball, so you can play basketball too. And it's a repetitious cycle, but they're
Mm-hmm.
not understanding how basketball and sports can actually be a relief for them when it comes to mentally, but also financially, and going to school and getting scholarship and those things. So it was so much that I embodied of making sure they understand what mental health was,
Mm-hmm.
where they can go to get help, because in that research that we did, they also got packages. Those packages include people in their community that was saying that, hey, if you need therapy, you can come see us. Different intern social workers was reaching out to them saying, how can we be a part of this? How can we help out if the teams reach to us? Also from that, what happened was two of the schools I was able to pick that provided feedback, and I did a 8 week mentorship. The 8 week mentorship mean going into the schools and actually forming leaderships in mental health and well-being from the student athletes, so they then can help the students in the school. So it wasn't just the basketball. There was girls from that was soccer. It was
Mm-hmm.
cheerleaders. It was dance girls, because I wanted the number one of not just the main sport, but I wanted athletes all over, because as people think it's just the basketball and football, anything outside of 3 o'clock is an athlete, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So band members and all that. So I had girls from very different, diverse athletic backgrounds, and they came together and we talked about gaining understanding of mental health, their self care, how to reach out, and also how to recognize mental health issues in some of their actual peers when it comes to that. So that's kind of the gifts of how everything came.
I love that so much because we have done as a society. I feel like we're doing very well talking about mental health,
Mhm.
but we also don't talk about, okay, like, what is it truly? Because we have all these stigmas about it, but we don't
Yeah.
really address it. And like filling that gap is like, okay, this is what mental health is.
Hmm.
What your experience or things that you might be going through is part of what you that may impact your mental health. So I
Right.
always feel like there's a big thing of mental health, mental health. You see the commercials, hear the phone line, but how can you identify it if you don't really know what it is? And that's what you
You
kind
don't
of
know the
resolve.
definition. And that was the main thing of them understanding the definition and not understanding the definition from a scary part. It was all like, hey, everybody got mental, everybody got health. Just those two words was, they was just like, oh, in our background, we understand that. But when they start saying, okay, because when I asked them, what is mental health? Somebody on the side of the road, somebody crazy, somebody my mom or dad cussing that. And so
Mm-hmm.
those things was just what they have an image of. And so being able to change that image and understand, hey, I got mental, I got mindset, I got health, all that goes
Mm-hmm.
together. Just small terminology for them to understand that everybody have mental health. It doesn't become an issue until we get to the psychological part, when it's something that's harming or hurting them, and then we go, but you should want to have mental health, the
Yeah.
positive mental health though, from the negative mental health, like you want that. So getting them to understand it. What was so funny after that, I would come back to the schools and the kids would be in the hall and the girls were like, coach, my mental health day is good. And they be like, why they talking about mental health all freely? So it
Yeah,
became
yeah.
freely to talk about. And the girl be like, see, they think I'm crazy. I ain't crazy. I'm talking about mental health. I got positive mental health. And it became a trend of something small that grew huge, of the girls being able to understand I can talk about mental health in a positive way without being scared to talk about it. But when it does become something hurtful, I still can talk about it because I know what it means in a positive way too. So
That's
adapting the
something we
language.
have to do a lot more. I'm glad you're doing it because when we talk about mental health, people always associate it with it being something bad or I'm going
Mm-hmm.
through something. And necessarily, we don't talk about the positive. Like we are just talking about positive childhood experiences now. I know we always talk about ACEs for the longest. That was a big, deep thing
Yes.
that we as social workers dived into. But from a positive standpoint, we have to recognize there is, being healthy, feeling fine, feeling great,
Mm-hmm.
that's positive mental health. It doesn't always have to be, man, I'm down and out. I'm going through some things. So what about the positive aspect? And so I'm glad that your youth are seeing that because that is definitely something that we don't talk about in the community enough. And you
Right.
always have to be something has to be bad in order for us to intervene.
In
Be something
every
good.
school I
Protect
went to,
yourself.
all seven schools, the first question I asked, all of them had something negative before we was able to go over it. It was just like, yeah, I don't want to talk about that. They looking around, as kids laughing, mental health, something wrong with them. Then they left out the
Mm-hmm.
classroom with a whole different aspect of understanding. And in between that time, you guys, yes, we did research, but we also had different items, snacks, food, and stuff that we was blessed to get donated. And to make it even more entertaining, different things from what I have of, like you said, my apparel and all those. I was able to have them to ask questions and stuff. So they enjoy
Mm-hmm.
asking questions like, who want to get this question about mental health? So I was able to give stuff out that even made it more exciting. So you got to think, we had the assistant principal come past the classroom, was like, girl, I thought y'all was talking about mental health. They was like, we are. They was like, but y'all having fun. They are, because we have to change the dynamic of it. So to hear them champion, laughing, because we had games going and everything on it, I would give them challenges to be able to see if a peer on their team act out a certain way during the week and how did they help them. And they'll have to come back and role play it and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just so excited from that part. So that was something I was very thankful for that. We are expanding the grant to do more things now. But that was the time. Again, everything has a season and time, but that was a blessing of that.
Oh, that's awesome. I love the fact that you're going to talk about the positive spin of the mental health and not always just the I have to feel it down. Like, as a matter of fact, in order to keep good mental health, you should be doing the things as far as laughing and having fun and
Yeah.
doing those things. So you don't have to get to that place where it's just like, oh, it's all I'm feeling down and blue, depressed, or anything of that nature. Because our kids, they deal with so much, and I can imagine, I know I talked about Alabama earlier, talked about Birmingham a little bit, but I can imagine going to some of these Title I school areas, and so
Yeah.
and then if it's anything like in Nashville, some of those areas they hit with tragedy,
Every
any
day.
given time of the night,
Yeah.
not
Mm-hmm.
even just the
Mm-hmm.
day, but just during the night, and they have to carry that on into the next morning, or if it even happened early that morning, have to carry them to the school. And so, how can children react? How can student athletes um, perform when they have to bring this into the space and nobody's really been there to support them um, at
Mm-hmm.
any given time? And
Right.
so, that's amazing that you are doing that. And so, you've been doing this work for quite some time. You said you don't look a day over 30 something. So, somebody you've been doing work for 20 something years. And
Thank
so,
you.
you're drinking your water, you're minding your business, and you're taking care of yourself,
Yes,
which is
sir.
always important. But how do you take care of yourself now? Because now you are in a role where I feel like you don't have the stresses that you did before you got sat down. That's why I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to title the show, You Need to Sit Down Somewhere, is my subtitle
That's
for the show.
good. Sit, and we gonna do that. Come on, sit
Because
down
that's what
somewhere.
well-being is. Well-being is really just you got to sit down somewhere
Right.
and take care of yourself. But
Mm-hmm.
like, how do you do that now? Because now you're at that point where you don't have the stressors that you did in the past, but you're
Mm-hmm.
also doing more work with the youth in these spaces and helping them out. And if you look at her website, y'all, she's doing all the things. And so, like, what are you doing as a coach, Perry, as a coach
Mm-hmm.
yourself, to make sure you take care of yourself? Because that's almost another topic itself. We can dive and talk about taking
Oh,
care of coach
yes.
and well-being. But far as what are you doing? What are the things that you're doing now to where you're in this place where you are at this moment?
Stay in the line. I know you guys heard me say that a lot, but staying in alignment. That has been my greatest thing and something that I truly work on daily of staying in the line of what God want me to do and what I need to do instead of what I feel like I want to do and everybody else want me to do. That means saying no. No, it's a
Mm-hmm.
complete sentence. I know you guys have heard it, but setting up those boundaries. I used to do a lot with our young adults in my community, and people reach out now and they get very mad when I tell them, no, I'm not doing it, or no, I can't come on that panel, or no, I would not help because I had to set those boundaries. It's not saying that in that area that I don't care for the youth because everybody see the work that I do, but
Mm-hmm.
I can't carry on everything. Some stuff you can't carry, and I would carry so much. So saying no to different engagements that doesn't fit or align with the direction that I'm going into, that's one of the things. Making sure working out, eat healthier. I don't do as much as I should. I know, but it's gonna get better. But that's one of the big things of just being mindful of what I put into my body, and that's mentally, physically, and spiritually. I was just talking to my granddad the other day, and he was talking about TV. I'm over there watching CNN. As you know, older folks they can watch CNN all day long, and I do get information from it. But he was like, when you go home, go look at it. And I was like, no, Papa, I don't even have cable. He was like, what's wrong with you? He was like, all that crying you used to do about watching TV. I was like, but now I'm in an area of my life where I only want to pull positivity unless it's podcast, YouTube, or something that I'm doing. I don't actually dive into that. So if I'm at somebody's house, I may sit down and watch it because I know when I'm going home, I don't have it. But those are the things that I cut out my life. Like I don't have that cable to go into. I'm reading more books. I have a bookshelf, and when my brothers and sisters come home, they're like, really? We would have never thought this. We know you were smart as heck and you love talking, but
Mm-hmm.
but I can have a book and just go all in, have fun, laughing, joking with myself. But I'm always pouring positivity into me. So when I'm doing the extra reading, when I'm doing the workout, it feels like a normal fun. Dang,
Mm-hmm.
because I change my habits of what's needed for me. So that helps me out. Everything I look at first, and I literally during the week or when somebody offer me something, does it align with me? How can I be a blessing to or it be blessing to me? If not, I'm saying no to it or I'm not following up with it. And that has just been my thing. And I tell people all the time, I went from burnout to being excited and happy about life
Mm-hmm.
because I'm learning and I've learned to say no to only what the capacity that I can have and I can do. But I also study emotional intelligence, actual emotional intelligence coach too. So big on emotional intelligence of understanding again my emotional capacity, what I can take on and what I can't take on, and that's it.
Sounds easy, sounds great, but it also takes work and get to that place of doing so.
Hmm.
And we can get all the books, we can, get all the literature, but as you mentioned earlier, you have to be a doer of these things, and
You got to be
so
able to do it. Like you said,
you got to.
it's constant work. It's constant work and it's constant practice, especially from your loved ones, because your loved ones are the ones closest to you. Especially you have relationships, partners, and everything, because they know your triggers, they know things that goes on, and it's also me learning that even with family, when I'm going to certain environments, who you used to know is not me. Matter of fact, who I was
Mm,
yesterday is not the person that I am today. And me being okay with understanding that and knowing that I'm on a journey of changing every day to be a better person. So everybody's not going to like that. They're not going to understand those different things. And it's okay. But I got to stay focused in my journey of saying I may hiccup, but the next steps, I'm going to keep going and I'm going to do better for it. So
mm-hmm.
it's giving yourself grace too to know that I am a human that is constantly changing for the better. So things are going to pop up. You're going to have those trying times. And I'm like, okay, come on, times. I'm ready for you. I play
Yeah.
sports. What else you bring it to me? Give me something else. Let me get something else good. And I also look at every day of like, okay, through these time tryings, that means something better is coming. If I got this situational problem going on here, that just means the next battle I got, that battle is gonna be so much fun for me because I already know how to fight it. So I
Mm-hmm.
just look at everything as a different positive spotlight because when you've been broke down so much, if you constantly allow that, you would never be able to see the clear days. So everything is what can I gain out of this? Even if it's something bad. I'm like, okay, this didn't go right. What can I gain out of this? This
Mm-hmm.
conversation didn't go right. What can I gain out of this? This
Mm-hmm.
person didn't respond back. Don't get overwhelmed. But what are the politicals or what are the things that may have felt that they didn't respond? And I always say, I catch it, I take it in, then I release it. Okay, go on to the next.
Except with fish, we don't catch and release fish. We catch that and have fish fry. But anywho, but
Look at this guy here. Catch and release that too.
no. Okay, we don't do that. Not where I'm from. I'm from the South.
Yes.
But man, that's some very powerful words, and I think I just want to add to that is that you have to be comfortable with knowing that change is going to come,
Yeah.
and you have to be comfortable with the changes that are happening with your livelihood to get to where you need to be. Because, like you said, it is uncomfortable. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people gonna say, "Well, what you doing? Like this ain't you. It's not how it used to be." But, okay, that's fine, and I'm okay with that because I
Definitely.
need to. I got somewhere I need to go, and so which is also a great thing to be mindful of when you're making this journey towards a better you. I mean, that's part of the well-being process with that.
Yeah.
Well, our time is almost up here, and so before I end the show, I always ask this question. I ask for our guests to leave off in the note because this show is called "And Then We Win," and so we talk about all the things we feel like is important to us to even think before we think about winning. What do we need to have ready within ourselves? What should
Yeah.
we, embed? What are the things that are important to us that we should consider before we think about winning? And so, you being the coach, you being a great advocate and mentor within the community and dealing with athletes and people of all sports and all youth, what do people need to consider before winning?
My biggest thing, what we've been talking about the whole time, is well being.
Mm-hmm.
Prioritizing you. If you're gonna win, you can't win if you're not leading well. So your wellness come first. And right now that is really something that I tie into different mentors and mentees that I'm working with that are in leading organization is I never ask them when I first meet them how their organization going. It's always how are they doing?
Mm.
How are you doing? Check in with you, and that's daily. Before you step into that school, before you step into that job, before you step to those students, ask yourself, how am I doing today? Winning does not come with you just walking into it. You have to have a mental reset to say, I'm a win. So I would say checking in with you every day, your well being, your focus. That is how you win. Like
Ah.
I have to be healthy to win. So
Mm-hmm.
everything I do, if you ask any of my mentees and call them, the first thing when they pick up the phone, they're gonna be like, Coach Perry, we doing good. I'm like, what you mean? I already know you're gonna ask me how I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I randomly do that to close family, friends, and loved ones. I just check in. How you doing today? Because we forget to pour into ourselves because we're always pouring out. So when you check in with yourself, you allow yourself to be able to stand 10 toes and say, I'm ready to fight this day and win because I checked in with me. So check in with you, your well being.
Checking with your well-being, and that's how you win. Erika, this has been a wonderful show. I could do a second take of a
Most
slew other topics as
definitely.
well.
Mhm.
And so I really enjoyed it. I thank you for you sharing your time on this today. Even though you're not feeling well, you still showed up and you gave the best version of yourself, and I appreciate that. And so thank you, thank you, thank
Thank
you, thank you, thank
you.
you. And so until next time, y'all, this is And Then We Win with Dr. Justin Singleton, and y'all have a great time. And thank you for tuning in to And Then We Win. My name is Dr. Justin Singleton, and I'm a sports social worker. I love what I do. And if you're interested in learning how I can best support your athlete, uh, your parent group, or even the team, please feel free to reach out to me at info@justsinglevision.com. That is info@justsinglevision.com. Feel free to contact me for a free 30-minute consultation so we can figure out how we can best support the mind, vision, and action of your athletes. Thank you and take care.